the Greeks, they start to emigrate from the city of Miletus. Is a city opposite of the Samos Island in the Ionian of the Asia Minor, about 850 BC. And they arrived in the Black Sea area, and they founded the first city, Sinope, which was founded, we know this by documents, 756 BC. You know, the ancient years, many years, the Greeks, they want to travel to interchange merchandise, to sell their products, and to buy from them their products, merchandise, so back and forth. And this is, they make the Greeks civilized and to create civilization, because by getting their ideas and giving to them their own ideas, they raise the standards of the intellectual and the civilization by traveling, interchanging with the other people. So.
Okay, what is a Greek?
Okay, Greek. We live here in about 6,000 BC from now, or 4,000 BC before Jesus, 4,000. At that time in the Greek peninsula, they lived people of from Asia Minor, also European. Others, they call them Pelasgi, Myrmidon, and a variety of tribes. They don't talk Greek language. Minoans and Mycenaeans, they talk pro-Hellenic language. The first Greeks, the first tribes, and you call them Greek because they speak Greek language. The first was the 2000 BC, from the north all the way down, Ionians, followed by Achaeans, by Aeolians, 2,800, 1,600, by waves. This was European Celtics people, and they speak Greek. And you say, these are the Greeks. So the Greek people, they refers 2000 BC. About 1100 BC, arrived another tribe from the north, who called Dorians, and they speak Greek. These were stronger, taller, blonde, and stronger. And their guns and knives were not from copper, which is soft. The Dorians, they had their guns and their shields and their knives and to throw against the enemies from iron. So their arms were stronger than the Ionians who live in the South Greece. They beat them. The Ionians terrorized. They left Attica and Athens, and they went to Cyclades Islands. Delos, Santorini, all the Andros, the other. And some of them later, they went to the other side of the Asia Minor, and they conquered Miletus. And from Miletus, they make a good city, powerful, and they start to travel south, north, east, and many of them through the Dardanelles and through Bosporus. They went to the Black Sea, and they found the most fertile soil, the Pontus area, for good farm, for grain and corn. And also was the beautiful trees. If you visit some of them, in the seashore, high, twice of Mount Olympus, 6,000 feet high, powerful, strong pines. This was the beautiful, strong wood, and the Athenians, they make their ships, warships. So the Pontus was a good supply for wood, strong wood for pines.
And then what happened?
And then they continue. The first 3 centuries was a big fight with the Persian and the other nations, between Christians and the barbarians. Finally came the Constantine the Great, who was the first emperor Roman to recognize the Christianity. And then Christianity became the state religion. And then all over Christianity, they mixed with the Greeks. So Greek and Christianity was one union. And they start to create the Byzantine Empire, which survived 1,100 years up to the fall of Constantinople in 1453. Yesterday was the dark day, May 19, 1453, May 29, when the Constantinople fell into the Turks and the Christianity fell apart.
And what happened when the Turks took over the Pontian Mountains?
Then the talk was started, dark clouds and dark terror, persecution. They want to make them, all of them, Muslims. They don't persecute us because we are Greeks, but because we are Christians. They call us Gaur, unbelievers. So some of them by force, somebody cut their heads, they make them Muslims, so they live in 400 years, very bad darkness. Then they came in 1915, this century, the same was against the Armenians. These Germans, who was the von Otto Schliemann, was the chief commander of the Turkish army. He told them, why you have the Armenians and the Greeks back and forth, back to make revolution? They found the excuse, the Russians and the Germans, to intervene, to give you orders to the Sultan. Throw them out, cut them all. So they started. In 1915, 1.5 million, June 15th, 1.5 million Armenians, they butchered them, they killed them. Only few survived in Constantinople. Then was the big uproar in America. Oh, 1.5 Christian killed by Turks, 1.5 million. In England, in France, in Russia. So in Germany, why do you do this? So the Germans advised to the Turks, do it slowly, slowly. Throw them to the river, choke to the death. Don't kill him in the blood to run. Throw him to the ocean. Or, the worst, exile him during December, January, without shoes, without pantalonia, without anything, poor, hungry, walk through the big mountains during the winter. Most of them frozen to the death to arrive at the center and the depth of the Asia Minor with the excuses, all right, kill me, I am a soldier, fighting with you. If I have time to make a revolution and to fight with you. My uncle, my aunt, Despina Neroboulou, pregnant. You cannot say I didn't know it. She was pregnant. You see it. You don't have it. You need eyes or a telescope to see it. You see her. They took her between other in exile. And she delivered Savas Neropoulos, my cousin. Now he's living in Katerina, 100 kilometers south of Ordu. Pregnant. Why you take them? The purpose was not to remove the excuses they make. They may be revolutionaries against Turks, but to destroy them. These are to take children and women, everybody. So In 1915, when the Armenians were killed, almost 99% killed. Butchers, no one. Because after the uproar in Germany, in Russia, in America, in England, in France, so the Germans advised us to do it slowly, more secretly, more polite. So we were lucky, say anything you want, we were lucky. 50% we survived, we came to the mother Greece as refugees. So what I know, the numbers, out in 1913, 700 Greek Pontos living, only 350,000 survived and came to Greece as refugees. 50% casualties. Very bad story. Very bad story, yeah. One of them, they took my father, 44, 43, 42 years old, exiled him. He went to the Diyarbakir, Malatya, the deaf Kurdistan area, and they put him in January, December to break stones, to build their roads. No food, nothing, and to build roads in the winter. He frozen to death, as his cousins told us who survived. So this was my family story. Now for my wife's story is that she had close relative losses, about 34 loss. From my side, I had my mother, my grandmother, my father, and one more, 3 losses. My grandmother, when they make exile, she was blind due to the cataract, no surgery that. So she was blind. So left in Urdu. Then came this devil, Topal Osman, leader of gangsters, irregular paramilitary organization. He found some of these poor people, sick people, 15 of them. They put him in a boat and he threw them to the Black Sea. The poor my grandma, they found his death in the Black Sea, blind, and this was the unfortunate part of the Asia Minor catastrophe. And as the years by, we realize more and more the depth and the severity and the seriousness of this catastrophe. In 1453, when Muhammad conquered Asia Minor and destroyed the Byzantine Empire, Greeks were there, in Asia Minor, in Thrace, in Greece. They produced Greeks, they continue Greeks. In 1922, no one survived in Asia Minor. Only there are a few thousand in Constantinople. Now, I'm proud, first of all, that I'm born Greek. There are not too many civilizations with so much glory, so much arts, so much beauty in the marble, in the coin, in the bronze, which they produced these famous ancient Greeks, or the history writing, or the medical books, or the tragedies, their books. I didn't see too many people like the ancient Greeks. So I am proud that I am from them, and I am proud of them.
So you were born...
Big history, big civilization through the centuries. All right. Let's go to forget Acropolis and Parthenon and Phidias and the other most masterpieces of this era, of the golden age of the Greece. Then came Christianity, which is supported by our fathers of the church. Megas Athanasius, Megas Vasilios, Chrysostomos, all these famous fathers who are Christians and Greeks. The Bible was written in Greek language. So I am proud of them.
But you could have been born in Athens.
How
A
you-
Greek family in Athens.
I used to born in Athens, under the Acropolis,
Under the Acropolis.
where the St. Paul, he stood in the rock, he said, "Oh, Athenians, I saw a statue to unknown God. I came to teach you the unknown God." St. Paul, yeah. Yeah, very famous apostle, yeah. I stood on this rock. Have you visited Athens?
No.
You'll visit, you are young, you can't visit some days. It's just opposite of Acropolis. There's a rock where they have the ancient Greek gods, the legendary later, the Supreme Court was there, yeah. And he stood to St. Paul and he gave the famous speech to the Athenians, which is in the Acts of the apostles in the New Testament, yeah. Yeah.
With your family at the time in Pontian, it was a catastrophe when you were born,
Yes,
right? So you must have been a baby when all this trouble was happening?
yes. I was there, I don't remember too much. What my sisters were older than me, they told me that we left by October 1922 with the second boat leaving with the refugees to Greece from Kotyra, from Ordu. This they told me that was there, yeah. And the left went to now another destruction. We lost 350,000. We arrived to an island, Makronissos. It's southeast of Athens, and with the tents. Then came the typhoid fever with the lice. 12 days dead. Out of 10,000 estimate refugees, most of them from Ordu, 5,000 died. One destruction continue with the refugees, the same in Kalamaria of Salonika or Suleiman Pasha palaces in Constantinople where they concentrated refugees. One lies if you have the sickness to another, 1,000 people died. No treatment, no vaccines, nothing. Unfortunately, yeah.
What was the attitude of the Greeks, the Greek government?
The Greek government, what to do? Suddenly has a poor country of 5 million. And suddenly they arrived without shoes, without undershirts, underpants, without anything, 1.5 million people. So what to do? He tries to do the best. They did. So the first 5-10 years we suffer, as all Greeks suffer. Poverty, poverty upon poverty. He tried to cultivate our farms, a little grain, a little corn, a little vegetables, and survive. By after the economic crisis all over the world, by 33, 34, we started to build up to organize ourselves and the Greek government. So now they're beautiful, fantastic. The Russians, Pontians arrived and complained. They arrived, but in Salonika they have a housing, Cimenta, 6-7 floors. At that time it was 1 floor and tents here, all over, tents with the refugees. So now you cannot compare it. Better, much better.
So then, in your family moved from
Ordu without the father. The father was in exile. We didn't know anything. After we arrived in Piraeus, in Athens, in the Makronissos, his cousins, they told us that your father, your husband, he died with us. We survived, we came, but he is dead. So, and I remember my mother, he was holding me. I was 4 or 5 years old, holding me. And I remember, right now, I feel burning. Her tears were falling on my cheeks. I say, Mother, why you cry? Daddy, your daddy is dead. A little boy to understand it. What is death? What is nothing? But I remember as of today, her tears fall in my cheeks. And she told me crying that my daddy was dead. What catastrophe is falling to this poor Madeline's house, yeah. 1922.
1922. And where did she go then?
Then from then we went to this island. It was a Red Cross to keep us food, some clothing. And then we came back and they told us, some of our friends from Oslo, that the soil in Katerina is good for potatoes. So they told us, if you go there, they give us farms. So we went there, and they give us about 30 divide by 4, about 8 acres, about this, and you cultivate tobacco, wheat, barley, potatoes. And I started to go to, then I didn't have the father, it was an orphanage for England philanthropists near to Salonika, an orphanage. I stayed there about 4 years to finish my public school. And there I came back to my mother in Katerina, and I finished my high school. And because I was a good student, I had good numbers in my studies, I successfully passed the exam at the university to study medicine. I finished doctor, meantime started the civil war, where I served my country 2 years, fighting to stop the communists and the guerrillas. And because I have 2 sisters here in America, they invite me, and in 1951, I arrived in New York and Boston, when I continued my studies, and I became an anesthesiologist. And a few years later, because I published many articles and many books in English, original medical articles, became as an assistant professor, associate, and then I became full professor at the Boston University. Yeah. My ambition was to serve the community, to give them a smile. And a doctor, when I was working in a printing shop, he told me, you'll become a doctor, and to help the people. So he implanted my thought this, talking to me, you'll become a doctor, to help the people, to give them a smile. So he introduced me these ideas, and slowly I started to believe it, to study medicine, to give a smile to the sick people. This was my wishes. And I did, yeah. And as today I try to sick people, to suffering people, to give them a smile, that's all. And if I can, to help them, to treat them.
During the war, the Second World War,
during the Second War, I was in Athens studying medicine. We suffered. Fortunately, it was the Red Cross International to help us. All the hospitals, I was working there as a volunteer. And then in 47, when I got the diploma, meantime, my country called me to the service. I went between the first to serve the country as a doctor of the 41 Battalion. fighting in the mountains, the communists and the guerrillas. And after 2 years, 2.5 years fighting, I was lucky I was not killed, but I went through many hells. And after 2.5 years, I discharged, and after a year in Katerina, I practiced medicine as a doctor in the city of Katerina, and I came here, in New York, not here in Australia, I came in New York, where was my sister, and I continue, I want to be anesthesiologist, to give sleep during the people when they do surgery, not to have a pain, that's all. And I study, and because after I found a job and I married a Greek American girl in Boston, I moved to Boston, where I continue to work. And as I told you, slowly, with my publication, I reached the...
Athens, like during the Second World War.
Okay. Was awful. 41, when they arrived, the Germans, the Greek army was dissolved. They left Australians, New Zealand, England, they dispersed here and there. And some of them went to Crete, and yesterday when the celebration was the big Battle of Crete. You want to follow 1-2 years, I saw people dead, falling on the streets in Athens. Hungry, hunger. Awful. Germans, they want to do war with my food. They took us the raisins, they took us the grain, they could anything. Right? You want to do war with your own. Why you me to starve to death? Anyway, they came the National Red Cross, and the Germans allow a Turkish boat, the name Kurtuluş, every 3 months from Istanbul to be full fasolia, and then faki, and then rovithia every 3 months, or bizelia, bees, which distribute to the hospitals. I was working as a student in a hospital, so I have enough food. Morning, noon, afternoon, bizelia. After 3 months, breakfast, lunch, dinner, fasolia, continuous. And with the help of the Red Cross, and we survived, but the years in Athens was awful. Then they started the civil war, and now they're awful. We in Athens, because I was a student in a hospital, I didn't suffer, because the Red Cross first the hospitals, and then the population. So I was in the hospital, so I had some bizelia, bees, and rovithia, and fasolia. So. But in the outside of Athens, they started to fight between them, brothers to the brothers. And this was awful. During the night, they came revolutionaries. During the day, the government, and they continue. And then in 47, 48, with the American help, they organized the army, they beat them, and they make their own government. But it was awful. You know, when you fight with the Italians, you kill an Italian, you kill one Greek. When you fight the Bulgarians, you kill one Bulgarian. Here in civil war, both sides, you kill 2 Greeks, 1 to 1. So it's not one Serbian and one Greek, 1 Greek and 1 Greek, 2. So the losses are twice as much between brothers, unfortunately. It lasts about 2-3 years, and then I was in the Chalkidiki, about 7 towns, no any school, all burned, because the army want to sleep during the night. So they burn the schools, we not to sleep outside. So I'm telling you, it's a very bad, the civil war. The war is awful. Any war, the killing is awful. But between 2 brothers, to kill each other is worse. I saw it, and I can't tell you, it's too dark and too bad, very bad. civil war. Fortunately, τελείωσε in one side the wind, was under the influence of the Anglo-Americans. This was the Yalta, you remember 44? In Yalta, they decided, Stalin, Churchill, and Roosevelt, these three in Yalta decided. The Greek was under the American-English influence. The North was the Russian influence. So the stronger, they manage your own luck, your own lives. So they put us in one side. So, anyway, I don't want to remember it. It was awful. Two brothers to kill each other for tea, nothing. We discuss philosophical ideas, good ideas. Both sides, good ideas. You don't know who is wrong. At the end, both of them dead. After end of bed. Κατάλαβες, Τάκη μου. Τι να πεις. Dark history, fortunately, it was 3-4 years and past. Now they are quiet, so they don't kill each other. Fortunately, yeah. Let's just talk. As long as you don't kill, let them talk. Greeks, they want to talk. Let them to talk. Right, wrong, let him to talk. As long as they don't kill.
So why did it happen? Why did it happen? I mean, it's given so much to the world.
Because suddenly you say, I am the savior of the world. No, I am the savior of the world. I have the best. No, you have the best ideas. I have the. So they fight. You don't know who has the best idea until each other kill each other and quiet down. They, you know, both of them, they have the right idea. Good ideas, you don't know. But it's not worth to kill somebody for a good idea. Because years later, you don't know which is right. You say, look, looking back, why they killing each other? Or Germans with the Americans, or the Germans with the French. You tell me why they are fighting. For this narrow space of the Lorraine Alsatia, who will be the conqueror? The world is so free. Let you be conqueror. No, I want to be conqueror. Destroy 10, 20 million people. They say, how many? Russians lost 20 million. The Anglo-American Germans, other 10, 20 million. You tell me what was. But Germans were beaten, the Anglo-Saxons, they are stronger. The other way, the Anglo-Saxons will be down, Germans were beaten. Is it worth so much killing for who to be superior or inferior? I don't know.
Your history has a lot of catastrophes.
Yes, they have. They have, because, you know, these...
In your time, you know? So
yeah, because these, not this area, all over the human, we make humans. Actually, we are animals. What we were 10,000 years ago? Animals. Suddenly we make Acropolis and Phidias and Hermes the Praxiteles, they did masterpieces, it was civilized. But 10, 20,000 years of animals. So they continue to have this heredity, κακές, evil, inborn, you see. So they conquer each other. Say, all right, this house is beautiful. Taki, come, you come. We are 3 men. They don't have a man. Let's go to conquer them. Their wives, their children. To conquer them. So you like to conquer. Killing and conquer. This is the history of human animals. Now, the difference is that an animal eats once until you full stomach. But the humans, they kill because they hate, because they want to conquer. This is the Black Sea area. From Sinope, all the seashore, the Greeks, because they call these Pontos, from ancient years, they call Pontians. If you are in Cappadocia, you say Cappadocian.
Yeah.
If you are in Macedonia, Macedonian. Thessaly, Thessalian. But these are Greeks. Just it happens because they reside in this area, they call Pontians. There's nothing different.
Language different?
Just the same people, Greeks. But original from Miletus, Ionians. Of course, they came Dorians, Aeans, Aeolis, mixed. But the main stock was the Ionians, who came from Miletus. In 1922, when I arrived there, Katerina, we have about 100 acres occupied by 20 families, Greeks, inside Katerina. We came outside. Jealousy, fighting, they call us Turkospori, Dimasike Turki. So you can't say that, or not, but this was in fight. If you fight with the brother or sister, you say sometimes better words. But you don't mean it after you say, all right, I was mad and I say, really, Greeks, they told you are not Greek, because you don't talk Greek. Our language isolated, the Greeks, they don't understand us. However, if you study, you see is more original Dorian, Ionian than the present Greek language. They say these international who study languages. We have more Dorians and Ionians words than the present Greeks. But they don't understand us. So you are not Greek. All right, but this is not true. It's just, as they call they call us Turkospori. She says to Turkus. How to do it? They say. But this is not true. This language of people, in 1,000 years, they isolated from the mother Byzantium, for the other Greeks. So instead to say this is, you say Safto. You change wording. Instead to say Ακάνθιον, Ακάνθα, τα αγκάθια, τα λέμε αχάντε. Became this change. So the other people say, you are not Greeks. What do you say to them? If he has a little knowledge, and he study a little bit, you know what is the truth. But try to explain him, he doesn't understand it. He say that he's mad against you because you took his farm. Because the farm is one, divided by two, half Portuguese from Asia Minor, half of tea. You are jealous of them because you take them their farms. The government divided. They didn't like it and was fighting the first years. So they φεύγατε από εδώ Τούρκοι. But this is not true. This is not true. The religion, the language, the history, they know that. One of the famous Byzantinologists, Falmeyer, Austrian German, last century, he says he was not so correct because there are so many inside from outside Slavs. The present Greeks are not today's from the ancient Greece, because it's up to Sparta, Peloponnese, many languages and towns in Slav origin. He says that the purest of the Greeks are this part of Greeks, because for the mountains south and north from the water, rough seas, was stay the purest of the Greek nation. He said, I didn't say it. If you want, if you know German, I'll give you his book to read it, but there is translation, I have translation. The original in 1853, his book says, studying, he went to Sumelai, he went to Bondos. He lived for many years between the different tribes, famous. But the Greeks, they don't like it because he say that the present Greeks are from Slavs, you know, he says something. Anyway, he had these ideas. But he said another thing, that this part, where are the purest of the Greek nation? Yeah. Το έχεις υπόψη. Φαλμεράιερ. Πολύ βίθιο, μεγάλος Γερμανός, Αυστριακός, Byzantinology, he said, yeah.
So, μας μίλησε ο Ενεπεκύρης γι' αυτό. Ο Ενεπεκύρης είχε μιλήσει γι' αυτό.
Ναι. He went to the monastery Sumela in Pontus, he slept there, he discovered many books, manuscripts there in their libraries, last century, I say in 1853 to 56, yeah.
So the Greeks here were kept more in a time capsule than in Greece.
Right.
They
didn't have so many mixed other nations as the present Greeks, because the north part of Greece was open to the foreign people to run, to go down. If you go through Florina, it's open field, run. Or if you go through the Vardari, Axios, Campos from Serbia, it's open to arrive very easy up to Olympus, open. Here there is no open. It's only one, a narrow pass, who we call Zigana, to pass. From here is Mohammed arrived, he conquered Trapezus in 1461, 80 years after the fall of Constantinople. There is no other pass, only one narrow pass. The mountains I went through, like these mountains, like yeah. Zigana. The first Greeks, tribes, they talk Greek, so they say Greek, is the Ionians, Aeolians, and Achaeans. Beat them in Attica, and then the Ionians left, they went to islands, Santorini, Andros, Delos, and from there go to Miletus. Then from Miletus, the Greeks, there was the most powerful nation with their boats. Some of them, they went through Dardanelles, Bosphorus, went to here, to here, to here, and to Pontus. You see all this area. All are these Greeks, and settled in different parts. But this was the most fertile, trees and soil, this area. Another, this area. And this is the area where developed the mythological woman Amazons. You know Amazons?
Yeah.
Or this area. It was beautiful to develop the horses, grain, wheat, and corn. And now also tobacco. All this is the Pontus.
So this all happened after the fall of Troy?
No, hold it. Hold it, Troy. What year was the Trojan War?
I don't know.
The Trojan War was about 1275 or 1250, this area about. So this was inhabited 800 before the Trojan War.
Is that right?
Yeah? But don't believe, this is behind mythology. The war was how to control the Dardanelles. Why Australians were to Gallipoli and the Allies to go there? Who controlled the Dardanelles, the pass? This is the reason, because Troy, they tax anybody's going through. The Greeks are jealous, let's go to conquer them, we do take the tax. So they found a nice story about Helen. Yeah. Who to control this part? Troy. Anybody's coming in and out, you say you pay $10. 100 boys, $1,000. Why you trying to collect? Let me to collect this money. Everything underlining is the financial, is the packet, is the dollar. Yet the American support Turks. For the Turks in the financial, you are in the past, you are Simachi. You are in the past Simachi. You are now, they have the oil, they have the 60 million, they have close to Russians. So they support them for their own package. Καημένοι Έλληνες, δεν το καταλαβαίνουν. $2 μιλάει. Δεν υπάρχει πατριώτης και Αμερικανός και Έλληνας. Τα financial είναι το underlining all these wars, who will conquer to get more. Έτσι και οι Trojans, this famous museum is the Napoli Museum in Italy. As they pass the Golden Ram, the poor Eli fall down. And from then, the name was Elis Pontos, Elis Thalassa, Elis Ocean, Elis Pontos, Elis Pontos. And then he went through, went to Colchis, and he sacrificed. Then Jason went to pick up this golden skin, derma, golden fleece. Yeah. This ram save you. Why you sacrifice it? They kill the animal and to sacrifice to the gods. The poor animal, he saved all the way from Greece through Dardanelles and Hellespont, all the way to Trapezusa, to Socum. He killed it to sacrifice to gods. The poor animal, the poor animal. And then all these fights was here, you see? This narrow pass. Αυτό είναι Troy, και εδώ.
There's been a lot of fighting over that area, hasn't
Και εδώ στο beginning of Bosphorus είναι το Byzantium. Now, Trapezunda was a synop, was founded 756.
756.
Byzantium 600 about, and Rome 556. So Sinop is more ancient than the Byzantium and Rome. Yeah? In music, we don't have too much. We don't have anything written, nothing left. The present music and the dresses and the dancing in a mix between the Caucasian tribes, Turkish, Iran, Persian, mixed up, ανακατεμένα, mixed civilization. As our language, they have too many Turkish, but the Turks, 50%, they're Arabian. I have their, I don't know to talk Turkish, but I like few words to find the originality of the Turkish word. So I have 2 dictionaries in Turkish language. And their book says that 50% are of Arabic origin. We take from Turks who took from Arabic. We have too many, yeah. Also the dresses, you see, we dress the same. The Turks, they dance with us the same. The same lyra, the same organs. It's a mixed people and civilizations, yeah. But original, we are Greeks from Greece. We have the religion Christianity, and we speak Greek. We think Greek.
What's think Greek?
Fight Greek.
What I say, our religion is Christianity. As the ancient Greeks, their religion was the 12 gods. They believe in Poseidon, Any place they went, or Xenophon, 400 BC, the first thing to set down the army of the 10,000 to sacrifice animals, as they did Agamemnon and Achilles and Odysseus. Then to sacrifice to the gods, to the 12 gods. And then to dance, and then to make gymnastics, athletics. In every place in Athens, there is, in Athens when I say Greece, there is the amphitheater to educate the people. There are the temple for their religion. Together they go, and also to go athletics, the stadium. Go to Delphi, you see the temple of Apollo, to believe in Apollo. A little farther is the amphitheater, to educate the people, the ancient tragedies and the theater. A little above is the stadium. Every 4 years they go to the Pythia, as in Olympia they do the Olympic Games. In Delphi there, but many people, they don't know how to go up and down. They don't. You may see only the temple of Athena, of Apollo, and the amphitheater. You have to walk a little 200 meters, go up, and to see it. They did they did the same at Xenophon in 400 BC in this area. Any place, they started to do gymnastics, sacrifices, and theaters. Κάναμε μουσικούς αγώνες. Say Kiran, you must read it, Kiran, if you are interested, please. In English, there are the Harvard and the Loeb Harvard. It's a green, small books. On one side, the ancient Greek, here is the English, read it. Beautiful, prescribed how Xenophon went through the Kurdistan, Carthusian, went up to the mountains suffering, and they saw high the mountains, the point, Thalata, Thalata. They know that where is Thalata are the Greeks. He know it. They're looking for Thalassa, say, and they found the Greeks in Trapezuonta. They arrived there, sacrifices, they did gymnastics, and they find you laugh because in the mountain, as they're running, ο ένας έπεφτε πάνω στον άλλον. Και να γελάς γίνεται. Τα λέει πολύ ωραία Xenophon. And then they arrive at Kotura and prescribe very nice, the only dance which they have the Pontians, which Greeks, they don't have it, is the Pyrrhichios dance. There are two warriors with the knife, how to kill each other, fighting, dancing, tankan. And then suddenly he hit somebody. He fell down. All the spectators, Paphlagonians, visitors, oh, they yell. How you kill a person? But he fell purposely. Actually, he was not killed. But there is also another phase of the Pyrrhichios dance when 5, 6, they dance back and forth, like fighting with the enemy who is in front of them. This is according to Plato. Two fronts, 5, 6, 7 people, 5, 6 of them, and fighting between them. And the other are the two people with the knives they play. It's two phases of the same dance, war dance, Pyrrhichios dance. This is according to Plato. This is the organ lyra.
Is that a Turkish instrument or?
No, I'll tell you now, I'll tell you. I found a prisoner now, so he can listen to me. This is the toxari που λέμε.
So this is what the Pontins used to look like, huh?
The traditional dresses. Kemeche, this organ, was from Iran, India. They call it kemeche. Through this and through the Byzantine Empire, 9th, 10th to 11th century, through Constantinople, went to Europe and became the violin, kemençe. This what remain in Asia Minor in Byzantine times. Today we have the Cretan lyra, who played this way, the Pontian, this, and the Yugoslavian Tuzla, or the Bulgaria. The leftovers of the kemençe from the India, from Iran, and became the 11th century, went through Byzantium and Constantinople and became violin. And today of this left kemençe became the Pontian lyra, the Cretan lyra, and the Bulgarian, the Serbian lyra, or the Aegean, yeah. This is a beautiful book. I started with mythology, the history, anything we repeat this, you'll enjoy reading, to get some cross ideas of the history of the Greeks in the Black Sea area. Yeah.
Why is history important? Why is it important to read about history, to understand history?
Right. Any people who they don't know their history, sooner or later they'll be disappeared. So our duty is to learn ourselves and our children and our grandchildren our history. If they don't know history, sooner or later they will be disappeared as people. The people will not disappear, but their history. If you read Xenophon, 400 BC, read this book, Anabasis they call it. In English, there is a beautiful book. He mentioned about 10, 20 tribes in this area when he arrived. Tivarini, Mesonicti, Mito, 20 tribes. None of them have survived. All right, there are many reasons. But one reason is, if you don't teach your child who you are, the child will forget. You learn the Australian history only, or the Aboriginal history only, or the Greek history. So it's a duty to learn and to teach our history as a part of our survival.
So it's survival of the culture.
Language, tradition, religion, anything you want related to your origin, to your to your culture, to your civilization. If you don't teach, if I didn't know, how you'll know about the Phidias? He produced these famous masterpieces. He's the only, he was so smart, he managed to take with his hands, his brain, to get by his spirit, the spirit of God, and to put it in a marble. If I didn't know that, I forgot. But now I know, because I read it, I read his history, and the Britannica says, not the Greek, I said the English books, that he was famous because he translated us the soul of a God, unknown, only spirit, to a marble with his little knife, little hammer. If Demosthenes, Aeschylus, Sophocles, or Euripides, Medea, if they don't read anything to learn, how you know about his history of these famous people? So it's a duty to know our history, our past, and to teach our people our history, how to go to the future.
The tribes that are gone now and passed on in Pontian, all those tribes before, they've gone. Right? But the genes, the genetic thing is still passed on.
Right. But the genes, they don't know letters. They don't know books. are genes. So if you are now, you can to prove that the 1 out of 3 in Sicilies, they have a Greek blood. By the DNA, you know what is about. But also we need the books. We need teachers to teach us that Plato went to Syracuse, he stayed in the amphitheater, and he listened Euripides' tragedies. That Euripides, he stayed in the seats of the Syracuse in Sicily, of the theater, to watch his own plays. By written, they told us, and I told to my children, and continue this history. So Euripides, you became eternal, generation to generation to generation.
In your lifetime, what is it more important? To be a Greek, to be a Pontian, or to be a human being?
First, to be a good human being. And then to honor my father, my mother, to be a Greek. That's all.
So first is to be a good human being. So your grandchild, who was born in America.
Now, we come to another subject.
But
I don't expect my grandson to be as I am, a fanatic Greek. He's an American. He born here. You say yes. My grandfather was a Greek, and I am a Greek heritage. But he's an American. What is a nation?
I don't know.
A nation is a group of people, all are not the same. In Belgium, there are 3 languages. In other nation, there are 3 different languages, religion. So a nation will say about who have the common language, the common heredity, the common tradition, the common songs, the common burial grounds, and the common heredity. Now, some of them, the 5, let us say, is not common the language. Another, there is not common religion. Another, there is not common the burial ground. But average, many factors of these most important, they make a nation. I don't know if you understand me. Myself, many times, I don't understand either. But anyway, yeah. So we say that, what is the Australian nation? A group of people who born or raised here, they speak the majority English, the majority are Protestant, not necessarily, and they have the same grounds. Τα μυρολόγια πώς τα λέμε? When you bury, you cry. How they say these songs? Burial, during the burial, these songs? Μυρολόγια τα λέμε εμείς.
Αλλά I don't think in English there exists anything like this.
You bury somebody, and there are 5 women singing or dancing, and they sing things. We call this μυρολόγια in language. How they call this in English?
No,
That's all right.
I don't think
Let's say,
there is any exist of these things.
no, there should be. Έχεις λεξικό, έχεις ελληνικό? Δεν έχεις. Λοιπόν, yeah, I'll find out. Λοιπόν, the same these sorry songs, the same dancing, the same happy songs, the same language, all about, but not necessarily all are the same. One, not the language, not religion, not the μυρολόγια, not burial ground, not this, but the majority of them make a nation.
Good things about what was ancient Greece and how it developed was being good human beings.
Good? No,
Good
all right.
human beings.
As
And
I say,
developing your potential as
All
a
right.
human being rather than an animal.
a good human being. This is the priority. But then they will have more sort of too. I like to be like my father. I don't like to be like your father. I'm jealous. I want my father. Better good. He's a Greek. I am Greek too. Your father is good or bad, he's a Turkish. I don't want it. So what to do? All right, you be an Irish generation, I'll be Greek. So all right, together. But basic are to be good human animals, good human beings. Thereafter, a variety.
Okay, to be, you said to be like your father, but maybe it is to be better than your father.
Yes, if I'll try to do better than my father. Education, learning, my business, my manufacturing is to make it better, to write books better. Of course, this is the human instinct, progress. Yeah, sure. To try to do better trees, to implant better grain, better stores, better food, yes. But myself, because it happens to born from Greek parents, I want to be a Greek. I don't want to be Serbian nation, right or wrong. I just,
But it seems to me that that is the essence of being Greek.
yes,
The true Greek
Yeah.
is to be better. And
Of
that's what
course,
they're given
sure.
to the world. And what they're given to the world is the individual things that you can say, okay, beautiful sculpture, art, culture, politics,
better pictures.
better pictures. they're just the milestones, but really it's that attitude.
Absolutely right. I agree with you 100% what you said. This is correct. This is
Yeah.
correct,
Now,
sure.
in Australia, many of the Greeks here have forgotten this.
Many Greeks,
Have forgotten this.
τι είπε,
Πολλοί από τους Έλληνες που είναι εδώ το έχουν ξεχάσει αυτό το πράγμα, το part αυτό της ζωής, της αναγέννησης,
της καλύτερης ζωής.
τεχνίτης, ναι.
Yeah.
Είναι να κάνουν progress για το human being, για το human rights και να είναι ταυτόχρονα και Έλληνες. Πολλοί το έχουν ξεχάσει κάτω από
Διάφορες συνθήκες.
διάφορες συνθήκες.
You believe in this because this is inborn to have a progress. Inborn. You cannot avoid it. Without knowing, always you like to find a better port, a better boat, a better photography machines, a better. It's inborn inside. This is the progress. I don't know.
I thought maybe
If some people, they lost, forget about it. They are be eaten by wolves, forget about them. But the majority, they have the inborn to progress.
I thought maybe what had happened when the Turkish took control for 500 years, that the culture, the language, everything was suppressed, and maybe that is why it is so strong with Greeks to hold the past.
You see, from the ancient years, what I read myself, English or Greek, 1,000 tribes disappeared. Greek nation, they have something instinct and strong inside to survive all the abuses, or the butchers, or the knives, or the conquerors. They survive. It means that the Greek nation in a strong genes for survival. How you explain it? Other tribes, they disappeared. I say Xenophon, he mentioned in his Anabasis, about 20 tribes living in this area. 20 tribes. And he was fighting by beating them. He arrived to Sinop, fighting every day here. Where are these people? They
No
disappeared.
one's left.
But Greeks, they survived. And he went here, and the boat went all the way back to Greece. Έτσι σαν οι Έλληνες. Είναι τρομερή ράτσα. There is a big difference between the Greeks, my generation, and my daughter's generation. I grow up and continue with the Greek philosophy, with Greek ideas, with Greek character. My daughter grown up in the schools with the American way of life, Anglo-Saxon. Greece, oh, my Papu country. Yes, we're going for visit, for vacation. So what I saw is a big, huge chasm, a big chaos between the two. The only I see as a hope to unite us, my generation, my ideas with the new generation, the church. The church survived by 2,000 years. The only hope, the old generation with my daughter's generation and my grandchildren to survive, be united, togetherness by the church who has a history of 2,000 years. Otherwise, one is fell apart and finishing slowly, slowly. Today there are 10 Greeks of my generation, tomorrow will be 9, 8, 7. In 10, 20, 30 years, none will be left from us. Will come the new generation. So I'll say to all my teaching and my talking and my lectures, please stay around your church, your wedding, your aravones, your dancing, stay around the church. I don't ask you how much you believe. And if you believe, it's not my business. This is between your conscience, your soul, and God. If you believe, if you don't. But I'm talking about history. As a historical institution, the church is to unite us. If you believe, if you don't believe, if you believe little, this is your own soul, your own conscience between you and God. What I ask as a historical institution, Greek church, is to unite us as Greeks.
But that's only 2,000 years.
Church has 2,000 years.
The other 3,000 years? There was no church.
I leave it to the God to think it off.
But
I'm
before-
talking to tell you, in 1998, if you want to survive as a Greek nation, as Greeks, because you have 2,000 united with Greece and Christianity and Hellenism, we have to continue this way. 3,000 from now, let God to give a thought. Why me? Today I'm thinking about my daughter and my grandchildren. So I'm glad my son-in-law, who is a lawyer, is a very Theosophists. He's going to the church, takes his 2 children, and he stays with the church. And my daughter is teaching to the babies, to the children. 2,000, forget about it. Who knows?
I mean, the first 3,000 years, there was no church.
No,
Then Christianity and the church.
no, the last 2,000 years.
Before that, the Greeks survived,
It survived by the 12 gods.
so still religion.
I feel sorry they don't have a goddess of love. Yeah, I feel sorry. Δεν έχουμε την Αφροδίτη, δεν έχουμε.
That's my mother's name.
Ναι, ναι.
Η μαμά του είναι Αφροδίτη, το όνομά της.
Αφροδίτη είναι.
Ναι.
God bless you.
She's
You know,
beautiful.
κάποτε λέω, γιατί δεν έχουμε κι εμείς μια θεά of the love. Ωραία δεν είναι. Και οι Έλληνες, the most beautiful masterpieces, τα έχουν γύρω από αυτήν τη γυναίκα. Κάτι ωραία, της Ρόδος, στο Μήλο Louvre. Έχουν αυτά τα masterpieces πολύ ωραία. Τα βλέπεις και τα χαίρεσαι. Ναι, ναι.
Okay.
No, this I take it as a history. I didn't ask you how much you believe, if you believe. I'll take it as a chain to save the Greek nation with Christianity. If these Greeks and Christians survive 2,000, why not the following 2,000 more to survive? I don't. Απλώς these are my thoughts.
Okay, what about values?
You know, these are traditions which they created by the people, by generation to generation. Now, if you want to escape or say, I don't believe this, all right, do it. If you can't do it. But you'll be alone. You're left alone. Nobody will follow you. I like to be baptized. I like to make celebration. I like to go a wedding in Ifnafrai Aspra. I enjoy it. You don't like it? Okay. You are lost. You are being eaten by wolves. Θα σε φάνε λύκοι. Αλλά εμείς θα είμαστε the majority όμως. Right or wrong? I don't say that I'm right. But because the majority, they believe this way, I go with them. If you say, no, I don't believe, δεν θέλω εγώ τέτοια πράγματα, all right, you'll be left alone or two. And in paradise alone, you'll not enjoy it. Say yes.
About the Pontians in Australia?
Australian, what I saw in Sydney and here, for the last, I arrived here on 15th, σήμερα είναι 29, 30, 52 weeks. I enjoy very much. I'm very happy to see the people, nice societies, nice churches, nice stores. I enjoy really. I am glad to see them, and I feel sorry that my George nephew, he told me so many times, come Theo, let's go, you'll enjoy it, come. Oh, too far. It's not too far. Until we slept and we ate twice the lunch, we arrived in Sydney. So I stuck my brain that it was too far. And I delayed so long and I didn't came too earlier. So these people, very philoxeny, hospital, πολύ philoxeny. Really, I enjoy it. I don't know how to say thank you to them, to all of them. Here and in Sydney too, yeah. I visited 3 churches, and their parties, celebration about the Pontians genocide, and their club. And here I enjoy to see this famous Hellenic club, and their houses of my relatives, my friends. I enjoy very much. I wish always to be this way, prosperous and happy.
So what have Greek Pontians given to the world?
In Pontians, as I told you, the same will be slowly the language. After my generation, the Pontian language will not be spoken. Slowly be disappeared after my generation or his generation. 30, 40 years. They'll talk Pontians only Turkish tribes in the mountains, Turkish with the Pontiaca, and some villages in Macedonia, and some villages in Russia. There will not be so many speaking Pontian language in Greece. The young generation grown up with the Greek language. The Greek Pontians, as all the Greeks, they give their culture, their language. They survive in a hostile environment, a nation keeping the tradition, the language and the Christianity, and giving also the hospital. The Greeks are not so hospitable as the Pontians. It's too friendly and too, I don't say about the new generation, the big cities, but to head from there to be friendly to the other people. And now the young people, they study, doctors, politicians, lawyers, and they are part of the society. Australia or Germany or America, they give anything they can do in their society where they live, and where this society they give a chance to grow up and to prosper. I was happy that God helped me to graduate from the medical school in Athens, and then in America I got plenty to help me to educate it farther and farther, and about assistant professor, associate professor, became full professor, which in Greece I couldn't do it if I was the son of the king only. So without a known person, one person, but I studied very hard. I had so many publications in English, original articles. They saw my work, so many books in English, not about the Greek books, in English, about in anesthesia and otolaryngology, in ophthalmology, manual of anesthesia, translated in 9 languages. They saw this and they support me to keep me up. And I enjoy it very much that they help me and I help them too. In any way I couldn't help them too. Right? Yeah.
So you passed on your knowledge, your experience.
Right, of course, sure, of course. This was my duty every day to teach for 1 hour one student or 30 students. And every day in the operating rooms, during the anesthesia, next to me was 1 or 2 students to show them how to give good anesthesia, good anesthetic drugs, how to help the patient to go through this surgical procedure without pain and to come back alive and in good health to help him, of course, sure. Always next to me were students to help them, to improve their knowledge, and to succeed to be, I couldn't do it every day, so they'll follow me. After 50 years medicine, I retired. So this generation, we help them, we teach them to succeed us, to come after us.
America has been good for you?
Too good, really. They gave me all the opportunity, I appreciate it. From the first day, they gave me all the chances to educate it, to improve my knowledge and to push me up and up and up. Never I couldn't do this, what they gave me America. In Greece, maybe if I was the grandson of the king, of the prime minister's son, I couldn't get this. Never. Here in an unknown immigrant, just only working hard and studying hard, but the most what was that I published. I published about 40 medical articles, in the best magazine in America. Somebody see it, says, hold it, who is this? A good article. Original, not just talking about the air and the moon and the birds and the violin. These are original articles about the progress of medicine, about the drugs. And slowly they reach a point where in Greece never I could do it. For them, never. Never in my dream. I will stay in a simple doctor in Katerina.
Okay, so of all the generations that have come before you in your family history, so your genetic history, you now pass on to your daughter, to your children, and then your grandchildren. How do you feel about that?
I'm jealous of them because I didn't have none, and my daughter had anything in the best schools and the best colleges. And the grandchildren, they don't know so many good books in color, beautiful books. Εμείς δεν τα είχαμε. Δεν τα είχαμε και τα φασούλια και τα μαντζάνας και δεν τα είχαμε. Πού να τα... Really, many times I'm jealous of my daughter. Τι έχουν αυτοί και εμείς δεν είχαμε τίποτα. We didn't have none.
That's the value of hard work.
Are they better for it?
They are better, of course they are better. My daughter finished her college. She became a good student, and she's running by the government, by the state of Massachusetts, the Clean Water Division. And under her, she has 30 people to run. Yeah, I'm laughing, but yeah, she did very good. And the boys are good. They study. I tried to brainwash to become a doctor. The first one, maybe, he's good. And the other is good, but I don't know, it law, medicine, I don't know. But I try to implant to be good doctors to help the sick people. So I don't know. Yeah. Τους πειράζει τους μικρούς να γίνουν γιατροί. My daughter couldn't become, she had a good marks, top. She couldn't do anything she wanted. I didn't want to become a doctor. And I tried to brainwash. I said, how about teacher? How about dentist? How about easy work? I had only one daughter. I was thinking, if I have 4 or 5 daughters, all right, let them to study 20 years. Medicine is, there's no end. But the daughter to study 18 high school, 22 college, other medicine 28, to specialize 30 years. Πότε θα κάνει family? So I was thinking to her, I say, look, I say, why not to find an easy job, easier? Don't go to medicine, too strong, too many years. So I brainwashed slowly not to become a doctor. Maybe she wanted, I know. She was smart enough to do it. I didn't want it. For a girl, medicine is too long. And only to have a daughter, one. So this is why I discouraged her to become a doctor. But she became a good, to clean water, καθαρά νερά. Καλά είναι. 4 χρόνια τελείωσε και she find a nice boy. Kastoria, Greek Macedonia, from Kastoria, the north part of Greece. He came 4, 5, 6 years old with his brother, and he's a lawyer. His law, practice law, I don't know how much with a friend, American, they study multi-million-dollar business communication. Don't say to me, don't tell me, I don't want to listen to you. A big business company for telephones. He left his law with his brother as a general manager, and he's working, they're doing very well, with the multi-million-dollar business telecommunications. Now this, they plan to buy a small one. And then their company will be bought by other company. Okay? Too big.
So you're confident about their future?
Yes, I am very confident. And for the young people, what I saw in our churches, in our dancing, in our society, I'm very confident. Not so much about my generation, who have the old habits, fighting the politics without to know why they're fighting. Many of them have said, why are you fighting? I don't know, he says. They don't. But the young generation are far for this politics. They mind their business, they become good students, good scientists, good lawyers, good medical doctors, good surgical people. Good, yeah. I'm proud of them. People, they came just pizzadori, cheap labor. And you see their children to finish universities. Of course, you are proud of them. Young people from a poor family, they came from the boat, ξυπόλυτοι και ξεβράκωτοι, και τα παιδιά τους να γίνονται δικηγόροι και επιστήμονες. Τι άλλο θέλεις? Παρακαλώ, μη συζητάς.
Okay, one more question, which is a difficult question. The negative side to Greeks.
Ποιο?
Το negative.
Το αρνητικό μέρος των Ελλήνων.
From Greece, from Greece or from Americans or Australians?
The three.
Australians. I didn't see, as of today, anything negative. The houses, I enter about, let us say, εδώ 5-6 σπίτια μπήκαμε. Άλλα 5-6 Australia. The houses, what I saw, let us say, 1015. The societies that are involved very active in the Boston area. And the people that I'm very, I didn't see negative, except the old people still they're fighting about politics. And they don't know themselves what they're fighting. Left and right. Don't listen, why? They have the trench from Greece. And they carry them over the year. Fortunately, their children, they don't care and they don't pay attention. So you see the society, which is very active with the old people, there's no young people, because the old people, they fight in the general assemblies back and forth. The young people, they don't come. So why I have to come to see you fighting? And they don't know why they're fighting. They continue to have this negative attitude, arguing, fighting politics. Yeah. Otherwise, I didn't see too many negatives. No, I didn't see. Of course, a few people are better. Every nation has some που τους τρώει ο λύκος. Εκείνους τους ξελάς. Yeah.
This negative quality of argumentative quality, has that always been part of the Greek history?
In the Greek blood, they have from the ancient years the divisions, the chonia, divided.
What's the chonia?
It's that divide people.
During the First War, the Prime Minister Venizelos had a difference with the Vasilea, the king. He was friend of the Germans. Venizelos, liberal, was friend of the English. This is the division, the chonia. Divide the two people, see. And the ancient Greeks, they have divided between them. Athens against Sparta. Sparta against Messenia. Messenians against Corinthians. Corinthians against Macedonians. Macedonians against Thebans. Each other fighting between them. And I come σήμερα and I tell you, we are real, Mr. Farmerayer, real Greeks from the ancient, because we are continue to divide it as the ancient Greeks. We have this negative heredity divided, the chonia, division between us. Awful. For politics, they may kill each other. And if we lost Asia Minor, one of the main factors, out of 5 factors, the main reason was the division. The Greeks were divided, Venizelos, anti-Venizelos, Vasilikos, anti-Vasilikos, Konstantinos, anti-Konstantinos. One of the 5 factors, the main factor, destruction of the Asia Minor was the division between the Greeks, divided. Otherwise, I don't see two other negatives. I was thinking somebody, why they don't send us in China to divide them, to make them 1,000 nations? to 1,200,000,000 Chinese, one country, one government, να το κάνουμε 10,000 governments. Να στείλουν τους Έλληνες εκεί να τους μάθουν. Ναι. Έχουμε αυτό το κακό να πάρει. Τι να κάνουμε. Τι να κάνεις, τι να πούμε. Λέμε τα κακά, λέμε και τα καλά.
Okay, one more question. What do you want to be remembered for?
To remember for me,
Yeah.
for my good acts. Anything good in my life, my teaching, my lectures, my visits, my books, my articles, that I gave something good to our people or to the Americans, especially to the Greek Americans. To remember me that I did my best, helping them to help themselves, to helping the society for better life.
There's always one more question.
Αυτό θα με φάει, δεν κλειστώ. Last και last, ωραία, no, I'm
Be
joking.
happy.
I enjoy it, really, don't, I'm joking.
Okay.
Αυτός ήρθε πολύ οργανωμένος, έξυπνος διάολος, στις δουλειές. He came with well organized questions, με έκανε εντύπωση. I impressed very much for your question when you read me at the beginning. God bless you. Γιατί...
Μα τη ζωή.
Ναι, thank you. Very kind of you. Thank you, very kind of you.
Pure, I mean,
All the time.
Yeah. Remarkable.
Thank you.
But he's happy from this.
Ευχαριστώ πολύ.
Πολύ ευχαριστώ. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I appreciate your kindness. Να έρθεις να κάνεις τόσες ώρες. Thank you very much.
He loves to
Thank
do
you.
it, you love to talk. That's it. You find it each other.
Μία ώρα λέει.
Ναι.
Μια μισή έφαγε διπλάσιες ώρες.
Doesn't matter. They
Αλλά θα μιλάω ελληνικά, όχι αγγλικά. Tomorrow, if you come to lecture,
You come
you
tomorrow?
may like the pictures. I'll show 80 slides. You'll get some slides which you don't need to English or Greek language slides. But the beginning is historical, a short history of the Greek Pontians in Greeks in Pontus, but in Greek language.
That's okay.
Και μας περιμένει η Έγγελα Δεσπόινα, να πάμε εκεί.
You set a very high standard. Very high standard.
Τι να κάνουμε, πατρίδα μας.